Hey hi, I'm Raghav, currently working as software engineer 2 at FactSet. In this course, we will learn about working with RESTful APIs. I will be your instructor throughout the course. Talking about the prerequisite, there are no such prerequisite, but yeah, having a knowledge about computer science and web development will be useful. So let's get started. Before starting with RESTful APIs, we must understand what are APIs. APIs stand for Application Programming Interface, due to which a small piece of software is able to communicate with another piece of software. Let us understand by a better example. So consider an e-commerce website. A user is able to visit the e-commerce website. This e-commerce website is able to communicate to different things such as payment and then product and then shipping. So all this communication occurs with the help of an API. So basically an e-commerce website has an API for product API, then it has an API for payment API, and yeah, shipping API, and such many more. So we have understood what are API. So let us understand what are REST API. REST API is based on client and server architecture. So let us understand this architecture. Client is something a user visits. Under the hood, the client is connected to the server. With the help of HTTP protocol, the client is able to communicate with the server. The client sends a request to the server with the help of HTTP. The server has various services and that HTTP request goes to those services. And then the server responds to it, and here comes the REST in the picture. Let's understand what is REST. REST stands for Representational State Transfer. This might sound confusing, but yeah, it's very easy. So let's understand it. Basically, when the client sends a request to the server responds to the request by sharing the current state of the resource to it. And we get the current data of the server. The server is there. We have a client. So client can do various operations on the server, like it can create a record on the server, it can read a record from the server, and then it can update the record to the server, as well as it can delete the record on the server. How is this possible? It is possible with the help of HTTP methods. We will understand it later. These all operations are known as CRUD operations. Let's understand it by an example. This is an example for CRUD operation that we need to hit to an endpoint. What is an endpoint? Let's understand through it. So this is an endpoint. Let's understand it in a minute way. HTTPS. It means that this is the starting of our endpoint and it is secured. That's why we are using HTTPS. If it's not secured, then we will use only HTTP. This is the domain of our endpoint. Then it's the API. It's a standard practice the company follows while creating an endpoint to use an API. And then we have the orders. So basically, this is an endpoint that will give us all the order details that it has on the server, and we can perform our CRUD operations on it. As I was speaking about the HTTP methods, what are those HTTP methods? Let's understand. It are the verbs, that is the request the client sends to the server, and with the help of that request, we can perform the CRUD operations. What are those verbs? Verbs means HTTP methods. So let's understand it. What are those? So we have basically 4, those are the basic ones. First is get. It is used to get the record from the server. Post. It is a method that is used to create a new record on the server. Then we have a put to update and record that is already existing on the server. And we have a delete. That is a method that is used to delete a record from the server. So now let's understand the CRUD operation that we will perform using the HTTP methods with an example of our e-commerce website only. So the first is a get orders. So our client will be sending a get request to the endpoint API orders, and then our server will respond to it by sharing all the record that it has. It is an array of objects. So this is a get request. But now if a client wants a specific order detail, so it can make a get request on the endpoint. The endpoint will be followed by the order ID. As in we can see there is a 1. This is our order. And then the server will provide us the details of the order ID. Coming to the second, that is the create a order. Now we want to create a new order. So we will make a post request to the server, but here we will share a body of all the data that has been required for creating the order. For an example, I am passing as a body of quantity 5. It is an object, and then our server will respond to it by creating a new data in the server. So now let's understand about the put order. That is, we will be sending a put request to the server so that we can update our existing order. Here we will make a put request to the API endpoint. The endpoint will be followed with the order ID, as here we can see. Also, while making this put request, we need to send a body that will have the updated data. Then it will go to the server, and server will make the changes by following the order ID. Next we have a delete order. So if the user wants to delete the order, then we will make a delete API request to the endpoint. Also, here we need to pass the order ID. So our endpoint will contain the order ID, and then the server will delete the specific order from the database. And this is all the CRUD operations we can perform using those HTTP methods. So in this course, we have learned how to work with RESTful API and what are the CRUD operations and what are the HTTP methods. So yeah, thank you.